DFO community. So, DFO launches in about 5 days now, and there's a certain topic that has been heavily discussed lately, and that is the use of the old fatigue system rather than the blitz system that Nexon used when DFO NA was originally around. And some people don't like this change. So, I'm going to give an explanation as to why the fatigue system is being used rather than the blitz system in a way that will hopefully clear things up for some people who don't understand why this is a necessary change. So, for those of you who don't know the difference, I'll give a brief explanation and then I'll get into why it's important. So, the fatigue system is a system where you start out with X amount of points, and I believe the number is 156. That's the number that the original system used. I don't know if Neopol's going to change that, but we're just going to use that as the number because that's what the original one was. So, every time you go into a room in a dungeon, you burn 1 point. So, first room, you get 156 points. Second room, 155, so on and so forth. You can do the math. Once you reach 0, you will no longer be able to enter a dungeon again. Now, if you're in the middle of a dungeon when you hit 0, then you can complete the dungeon, but once you leave, you can't go back in. So that's the system that we're going to be using when DFO launches again. The old system, the blitz system, was up to 400 points, and as you burned through it, you actually got like buffs for reaching checkpoints. So once you burned like 100 blitz, you would get a little bit of a gold drop boost and an experience boost until you hit 0. And once you hit 0, you could still play, but you would no longer get item or gold drops. Now, a lot of people, I won't even say a lot of people, but some people want that system back because it allows for unlimited play, whereas the fatigue system does not. However, the reason why the fatigue system is being incorporated is because it is way more efficient at dealing with bots. Nexon put in the blitz system because Western players didn't like the fatigue system because of the restriction that it had. However, it also allowed botters to run absolutely rampant, and that is what ended up destroying North American DFO, because essentially the economy exploded into just impossible for a legitimate player to buy any endgame gear, because the gold sellers would buy up all of the pink level 65 gear, as was the level cap at the time, and sell it for the absolute maximum that the auction hall would allow you to buy them for, and they would just sell gold so that people were forced to buy gold to afford anything or grind for absolutely absurd hours just to be able to afford a single piece of gear. Now, the way that the fatigue system is going to limit the bots is that with the blitz system, even if drops did stop after the points were completely spent, you could still gain experience, which meant that botters were able to get full accounts of characters to the max level in a day. They would just run dungeons until they had max level characters, and then they would grind the dungeons with each character on that account who were all max level until they ran out of blitz points like the next day, and then they would do that every single day, and they would have multiple accounts. So even though they couldn't get drops after they spent all their blitz, they could still get all their characters to max level in one day. That is a big problem. The fatigue system won't allow that to happen. Instead, once they go through 156 rooms, they will forcibly be stopped from entering dungeons. This makes it so that you can't get bots to max level in a single day. It'll take weeks to get them there, which That'll be a turnoff in and of itself to some people. They don't want to take the time, they just want the instant gratification, and that will cull the numbers of people who will even attempt to be botters. But for those who do try, and I'm sure there will be, and there may be some successful ones, I don't know. Hopefully not, but I mean, hackers are good at what they do. Let's give them their due. They know what they're doing. But with this system, there will be a significantly larger time frame in which Neopal can recognize bots and ban them before they can do lasting damage to the economy. Now, one of the arguments that people are making is that they should just have in-game moderators to catch the bots. Now, understand something. Neopal is not used to operating a game, especially at this scale. They don't have the manpower to have people coming in and doing their entire workday simply moderating this game to look for bots. Especially since this is no longer just a game that's being hosted for a single country, or group of countries. This is no longer North American DFO. This is global DFO. The idea that this company can afford the resources and manpower to monitor an entire worldwide game and catch every bot and expect them to do it efficiently and to a high enough degree that the bots won't cause any damage to the economy is absurd. Now, another argument I've seen is that they should make gold account bound. Now, the reason that this is not as plausible of an idea as some people seem to think it is because, first of all, that would require a new script to be written for the account bound items to be able to still be used on the auction hall, because right now you can't sell things that are account bound on the auction hall. So that's more code that they would have to write, and albeit it wouldn't be a big code, but still, it's something else they would have to do. And remember, this game is set to come out in 5 days as of the making of this video. They have other things to worry about. Second of all, if you make it account bound but still usable on the auction hall, that is still limiting to the player in that it makes it so that if you have friends or family who play the game and you have a lot of money, you can't give it to them. I play this game with both my friends and my family. And I'm a DFO vet, and I have given my friends and my family sums of money to help them out in certain situations before, and that would no longer be allowed. This game is a community. A lot of people help out each other by playing together, and one of the biggest complaints is that the fatigue system is going to be limiting to legitimate players. So making gold account bound is just another limitation. It takes a different form, but at the same time, it brings its own realm of problems. The fatigue system has proven that it works in the Korean version of the game. It is already fully developed, and the survival of Korean DNF versus the failure of North American DFO should speak for themselves. Maybe down the line, when Neopal has decided they know how the botters work, they feel like they have maybe the manpower to do full in-game moderators, which I doubt, or they find a better and more efficient way of stopping them that doesn't require the fatigue system, maybe they can incorporate a new method. I'm not saying they will, and I'm not necessarily saying they should, but it's a possibility. But again, remember, the game launches in 5 days. Don't sink the ship before it sails. Let them use the method that they have proven so that we can have a functional game rather than catering to those people who just want to sit in front of the computer and play on one character for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, unrestricted, just because that's what they want. They are going to keep on being noisy about it, and that's just how some people are, and that's not going to go away. But this is a community game, and measures need to be taken to make sure that it works. And not everybody's going to like how that's done, but at the end of the day, if a game doesn't work, congratulations, you got your selfish, I get to play however long I want with no restrictions, and the economy crashed, and now the game is down again and you can't play at all. And really, that's just the end-all be-all of it. There's always going to be limitations in order to stop the game from breaking. And besides, DFO, there's a lot of classes, there's a lot of characters. It has so many diverse components that you should just see the fatigue system as a encouragement to experience the game in more than one flavor. Sure, you like playing one class, and that's great. I mean, I had favorite one or two classes that I always played, but there's still other options that you can now explore and have a reason to say, you know, I'm going to go play this other class rather than just maxing out this other one character, because it's not as much of an option to max out that one character in a short period of time anymore. And also, you are only limited from entering dungeons. There are still other PvE things like the towers. The tower section had, by end game, I believe 5 different zones that you could go into. So there are options there. And there's PvP. I know some people don't PvP. I don't PvP very much. My family never PvP'd at all, but some of my friends were into it. So, I mean, the community behind it is different, admittedly, but it's something to do. So if you want to stay on one character for the entire time, go for it. You have other options. You're only limited to entering dungeons when your fatigue points run out. So I understand that some people are still going to complain about it, but it's important to understand why it's there and what it's doing and accept it for what it's going to do for the game. You know, it's like a shot. Nobody likes getting shots. They hurt, they're annoying, they're itchy, whatever. But guess what? The alternative is much worse. So, thank you for watching. Also, leave a like and a comment if you would be interested in me making videos that are tutorials for new players to just explain aspects of the game. I'm probably going to do them anyway, but some motivation and some, you know, support saying, yes, I'm interested, will definitely get me to get on them faster. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I cleared up some confusion that may have been surrounding this topic, or maybe change some people's minds about it. I'm sure that there are some people who will still think that this is a bad situation and a bad fix, and I recognize that, but, you know, sometimes you have to do something that's not popular in order to get the best result. So anyway, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.